The story flashes back a bit in time to a sunny and beautiful beach. There we see a blonde woman chilling out, enjoying the sun and the sea breeze. The young woman was just vibing, chatting with her redhead friend who was also relaxing by her side. Suddenly, a random foot appears in the sand, and someone says hello to the lovely ladies. With that, the two girls look up, a little confused by the sudden approach. It was a couple of gym bros trying to hit on the girls, bragging about being fitness enthusiasts. The more jacked one offers a deep experience with his thigh muscles free of charge. Losing her patience, the blonde gets annoyed and calls the guys shameless perverts. She then tells her friend that they should probably just get out of there. The two extras don't like being rejected and get a real angry look on their faces. One of them loses his cool and grabs the girl's arm tightly, stopping her from leaving. He throws her back into the chair and says she'd better be friendly because he's not in a good mood. The musclehead then tries to force a kiss on the waifu, who gets completely desperate. But a voice yells at them to stop, and the two look back, totally surprised. Running toward them, an unknown guy shouts for them to let the young woman go immediately. The two gym bros completely ignore the guy who showed up to help. Focused on the girl, they simply pay no attention to the newcomer. The main character gets ticked off and wonders if those two are actually ignoring him. Meanwhile, the extra tells the waifu that no one is going to interrupt their newfound friendship. The guy tries to move forward, but the blue-haired one steps in front to stop him. Without a second thought, the meathead grabs our hero's neck with all his might. The brute then asks why the kid is yelling so much. Next, he tosses the young man into the sand like he was nothing. The gym bro calls him a pest and tells him to scram if he doesn't want trouble, but the kid isn't fazed. Angry, the protagonist gets up and rushes forward, shouting not to be underestimated. And with all his strength, he lands a solid punch right in the extra's face. But the big guy doesn't even flinch and asks if a pretty boy like him dares to act tough. The protagonist is shocked, wondering how the guy took his punch without even blinking. At that, the gym bro clenches his fist, getting ready to counterattack with a smile on his face. And he tells the kid to feel what a real man's punch is like, hitting him square in the stomach. The blow is so strong that the protagonist screams in pain, spitting out a bit of saliva. With rage in his eyes, the blue-haired gym bro winds up another punch to end the fight. And without a second thought, he lands another full-force punch right on the guy's chin. The force of the impact sends the young man flying far across the beach, all beaten up on the ground. The poor guy can only think about how much that hurts like heck. Hearing the young woman's cries for help, the protagonist starts to panic. Even after taking a serious beating, he still tries to get up and tells the beast to let the girl go. The extra doesn't let up and lands a powerful kick right in our hero's face. And once again, the guy is kicked away, landing all twisted in the sand. Bleeding and on the ground, he realizes there's no way he can stop the brute by himself. But out of nowhere, the other gym bro's shorts are ripped by a mysterious hand. And then, a girl with colorful hair appears out of thin air, rushing toward the big guy. She grabs the musclehead from behind and tells him to remember to work on his leg day next time. With that, the girl delivers a massive kick to the guy's leg, making him lose his balance. To finish it off, she spins and uses her other leg to sweep him and knock the extra to the ground. The girl gives the fallen gym bro one final kick to make sure he doesn't get back up. She lands in a stylish pose while the other musclehead just stands there, jaw dropped at the whole scene. The blue-haired one gets furious and yells, asking if the little girl dares to hit him. With that, he tries to throw a punch at her, but the young woman dodges the blow with incredible ease. The gym bro is surprised, and she says he's the one who started the mess by hitting first. The young woman then counterattacks with a kick to his stomach, calling him shameless. And with one more well-placed hit, she knocks the second extra to the ground effortlessly. The guy lies on the sand, moaning in pain and holding his bruised-up face. The young woman then tells them to get lost if they don't want their legs broken. The two losers get up and run away, promising they'll remember this, while the protagonist looks lost. Everyone on the beach cheers and praises the girl, while the guy just stands there, a bit confused. A few people comment on how amazing she was, taking down those brutes in no time. But two gossipy girls say the protagonist is just a weakling who got beat up and did nothing. The poor guy overhears everything and feels really down and embarrassed by the whole situation. The heroine turns to Sha Yi and asks if he's hurt, but he says he's fine and that the guy barely laid a scratch on him. The girl with the colorful hair keeps looking at Sha Yi with a somewhat worried expression, but she quickly changes the subject, saying it's almost time for dinner, so he should head back. Deeply embarrassed, the protagonist just nods and says he gets it. As he walks alone, he thinks about how humiliating it was to get beaten up without being able to do anything. He feels like a complete nobody for being so embarrassed in front of everyone. The guy then imagines himself fighting, wishing he were strong like Xiaoji so he could defeat bad guys. But the truth is, Xiaoji is known for being a genius martial artist and incredibly strong. Thinking about that, the young man feels down again and sighs, lamenting his lack of strength. Suddenly, he stops when he sees a strange stall with a sign that says Golden Finger. The protagonist is confused and has no idea what's going on in front of him. He realizes it's a street stall with two very weird vendors working there. The two were completely distracted, one playing a video game and the other on his phone watching live streams. The stall's banner had a ton of stuff written on it, looking like some crazy advertisement. Yi thinks it's ridiculous and figures selling golden fingers must be the newest scam in town. Even though he's suspicious, he gets closer and the vendor yells to his friend that a customer has finally arrived. The vendors jump on the guy and start offering all sorts of crazy stuff. But the protagonist says he doesn't want any of that and just wishes he could be a little stronger. The two get confused and wonder if they heard right, that the young man only wants more strength. With a wicked smile, they guarantee that their products can grant any wish. The vendor grabs a weird blue creature and says that eating it will grant the kid's request. Yi is grossed out and asks if that strange thing can even be eaten. The guy in the apron assures him it's a rare product from the deep sea and that he has nothing to worry about. Even so, the protagonist still thinks this is not the least bit trustworthy. The vendor says it's normal to be wary of strange things, and his friend nods in agreement. But to gain powers, he needs the courage to challenge the unusual, because fortune favors the bold. The guy thinks for a moment and agrees that the vendor's pitch actually makes some sense. After taking his payment, the vendor hands the weird creature to Yi. The two of them take off running, wishing the young man good luck and cheering for him. Seeing them run away, the protagonist realizes what happened and wonders if he just fell for a scam. The scene cuts to a nice house on a sunny day with lots of clouds in the sky. The protagonist walks down the street, thinking he bought the item on impulse but that maybe it will work. But the creature is so slimy and gross that he has no idea how he's going to put it in his mouth. Out of nowhere, the guy hears a scream for help and is immediately on alert. The cry for help seems to have come from a dark alley nearby. Without a second thought, he runs into the alley and finds a young woman in trouble. The beautiful young woman was tied to a post, desperately calling for help. The guy asks what happened, and the girl explains that she was caught by two thugs. Hearing two thugs, the protagonist is shocked and starts connecting the dots. Just then, a huge foot appears in front of them, and someone greets him in a mocking tone. It was the same gym bros from the beach, now laughing in our hero's face. Yi puts himself in front of the young woman and tells them not to bother her. But the girl whispers that he's mistaken, leaving the guy totally confused. She reveals that he's the target, not her, and leaps over the protagonist with an insane look in her eyes. The young woman then lands a powerful kick to the poor guy's chin. And to top it off, she traps him with her legs in a fighting move to immobilize him. With the impact, the blue creature flies out of the guy's hand and falls right toward him. The young woman sits on top of the protagonist and reveals that she's with him and the gym bros. With a wicked smile, she says she's going to use him to force Xiaoji to sell the bathhouse. The protagonist remembers her and realizes the whole thing was just a big trap. While he's distracted, the weird item he bought falls toward him. And without meaning to, the blue creature ends up falling right into the poor guy's open mouth. The guy swallows the thing by accident, leaving everyone there completely shocked. The young woman screams, asking what he ate and if it was a dead rat. The two gym bros are also disgusted by the scene, finding it really gross. The protagonist panics when he realizes he swallowed the thing and complains about the awful taste. Suddenly, he feels something strange and rips his shirt trying to break free. The young woman grabs him from behind and tells him not to struggle or things will get ugly. She squeezes his neck even tighter with her arms to keep him immobilized. Out of nowhere, a strange object starts to glow with a very intense pink light. The protagonist feels a strange heat in his body and wonders if the item is working. The young woman tells the two gym bros to stop staring and grab the guy, and they obey instantly. But something strange starts to happen inside our protagonist's body. The item he swallowed begins to glow intensely with a very strong pink light. With a flushed face, Yi realizes the sensation is getting more and more powerful. This heat fills him with a primal sense of power that he's never felt before. It's an uncontrollable force, and he feels like something is about to explode from within him. The liquid in the item reaches its maximum level, and it looks like the transformation is finally about to begin. The three villains are holding him down, but a yellow energy starts to burst from the guy's body. Suddenly, an explosion of power throws all of them far away with absurd force. The woman flies through the air with a look of pure shock, not understanding what happened. The energy shoots up to the sky, showing the intensity of our hero's transformation. When the dust settles, the three thugs are on the ground, and the protagonist is standing in the middle. Now he looks completely different, with white hair and an insane physique. The young man thinks about how incredible this feeling of power is, and that the magic item really worked. The villainess gets up furious and yells that no matter what he does, he won't escape from there. With a brilliant smile, the protagonist says that dirty methods don't suit her beauty. He approaches with an irresistible charm, and the young woman is left speechless. Yi realizes he can't control his mouth and that he's gained the power of smooth talking. The villainess is completely captivated, and her heart starts racing at the guy's beauty. She feels like she's in love and wants to be with him forever, right at that moment. The woman imagines a romantic moment and declares her love to the protagonist of her dreams. But she snaps back to reality and wonders why she's having these random thoughts. She refuses to be fooled by his looks and decides to go through with her plan. Angrily, she grips the knife in her hand, determined to take him out. The woman leaps at the protagonist, shouting that anyone who gets in her way must pay. She charges with the knife ready, prepared to deliver the final blow without mercy. The guy panics because his body won't move to dodge the attack, But with a confident gaze and a smile, he faces the threat without any fear. The young woman is surprised by his reaction and stops her attack midway. The protagonist wonders why the attack stopped and what's happening to the villainess. The villainess is completely confused, wondering what is happening to her. She feels weak and has the urge to hug the guy, thinking it's just exhaustion. But the young woman ignores the feeling and tries to attack the protagonist again with the knife. However, the guy just gives her a super charming and brilliant look. Completely won over, the woman gives up fighting and runs toward him, asking for a hug. At the last second, she stops and asks herself why she's acting that way again. The villainess is stuck in this internal battle between attacking and hugging, while the gym bros have no clue what's going on. She tries to resist his charm by biting her lip and says she's a woman of principle. Her eyes glow with a white light, showing that her determination is for real. With the knife in hand, she prepares to attack once more. Filled with rage, the woman yells for him not to challenge her determination and lunges at him with everything she's got. But in the end, she can't resist and hugs him, saying she's going to marry him. The protagonist says her beauty has completely captivated him, and the two start to kiss. The two extras are dumbfounded and think he used some kind of dirty trick on her. So the gym bros decide to save their boss and rush the guy to start a fight. The blue-haired gym bro yells at him to let go of their boss and tries to punch the guy. Xiaoyi gets worried and yells for his body to turn so he doesn't get hit by the blow. The punch lands squarely on the protagonist's abs, but he doesn't even budge from the impact. With a smile, he says he can feel the gym bro's deep love and catches his fist with just his fingers. The extra is shocked and can't believe the guy stopped his attack so easily. The protagonist realizes the punch was weak and that the transformation gave him more than just a silver tongue. The musclehead doesn't accept defeat and uses all his strength to try and land another hit. But the guy says his attack is full of openings and gets ready to counter. And with a clean punch to the stomach, he knocks the blue-haired gym bro to the ground instantly. The extra falls flat on his butt, and the protagonist is shocked by the force of his own punch. The other gym bro rushes him to avenge his friend with a flying kick. But the guy calmly dodges and grabs the musclehead's shorts to stop him. With a smirk, the protagonist pulls the extra closer to him. And with a well-placed kick to the family jewels, he knocks the second gym bro to the ground too. The guy apologizes for not being able to control his strength, and the villainess falls even more in love with him. Xiaoyi wonders why all of his new body's attacks are so mischievous. Lying on the ground, the blue-haired gym bro complains about the dirty tactics and changes his mind. He pulls out a knife and decides he's going all out against the protagonist, with no mercy. The musclehead charges, screaming, and tries to stab the guy with all his strength. But the protagonist dodges the attack with a quick and elegant tilt of his head. He dodges the blade and counters with a punch right to the extra's chin. The force of the blow sends the gym bro backward, and the guy follows up with a kick. The protagonist wonders why this time it wasn't a mischievous attack like the others. He kicks the musclehead in the chest, sending him flying from the impact. The force of the blow is so great that one of the gym bro's teeth goes flying. The guy then spins and prepares to deliver the finishing blow to his enemy, and with a powerful kick, he hits the extra square on, giving him no chance to defend. The gym bro flies through the air and lands hard in the middle of the street, far from the alley. People on the street are startled by the scene and stare at the body lying on the ground. The poor guy is left there, passed out, foaming at the mouth and all broken after the beatdown. The protagonist says he hopes that in the future they'll choose less violent ways to solve things. He turns around and finds the two girls he saw on the street and an old lady looking at him. With a charming smile, he greets the ladies and says that meeting them is the luckiest part of his day. The two young women are completely smitten and think he's the coolest guy in the world. Even the old lady gets all flustered and blushes from our white-haired hero's charm. He says that not even time can hide her charm and calls her sis, sending her over the moon. The elderly woman gets so emotional that she almost has a heart attack from pure joy. The three women throw themselves at the guy's feet and say they are his forever. Xiaoyi finds it a little weird to be such a playboy, but he kind of likes the feeling of being wanted. A little ways off, Xiaoji and a friend are watching the scene, not understanding anything. The friend asks what happened, and she realizes the guy surrounded by women is Xiaoyi. She walks over and calls his name, surprised by the guy's radical transformation. With a brilliant smile, he says he's glad she's here and seems super happy to see her. He takes her hand and makes an over-the-top, poetic declaration of love. Xiaojie is left speechless and completely red-faced by her friend's unexpected pickup line. He continues the line, saying she is the light that guided his lost soul back. But Xiaoji isn't buying it and pulls her hand away with a very irritated look on her face. She says everyone is waiting for him to eat and seems like she didn't enjoy the scene. Embarrassed, the girl turns away, and the guy realizes something is wrong with her. Suddenly, he feels a strange heat and realizes his power is acting up again. Xiaojie turns around and delivers a solid punch to the protagonist's chin, breaking his charm. With the impact, the item's power shatters, and the charm effect finally wears off. The scene changes to a little puppy being beaten by a group of mean kids. The boys are hitting the poor thing with sticks and calling it a monster without any mercy. But a boy in a red cap shows up and tells them to stop their cowardly act. Little Xiaoyi steps in front of the dog and tells them not to mistreat animals. The The bully says the dog is a stray and that he can do whatever he wants with it. Xiaoyi gets angry and says he's going to tell all of their parents if they continue. The group leader gets scared by the threat but refuses to back down. He shoves the little hero to the ground and tells him to get out of the way right now. The bully says he just remembered that Xiaoyi was abandoned at home by someone. The poor kid is left speechless with a very sad expression on his face. The mean boy continues, saying his parents didn't want him, which is why he defends stray dogs. Furious, Xiaoyi jumps on him and yells that he's not a stray and that his parents are just busy, but the bully kicks him away and tells the guy to stay away from him once and for all. Lying on the ground, the little hero can only groan in pain from the kick he took. The mean boy picks up the stick again and says he's going to take care of poor Xiaoyi, but a little girl appears out of nowhere and shoves the bully away before he can attack. The boy is confused and wonders who the girl is that showed up to interfere. Little Xiaoji steps in front and yells at them not to mess with Xiaoyi. The bully calls her a meddling brat and tries to hit her with a piece of wood. But with a confident smile, the little girl easily dodges the blow. And with a perfect kick to the chin, she knocks the mean boy to the ground instantly. The bully's friends are stunned by the little heroine's strength. The group leader is on the ground crying in pain while his friends don't know what to do. Angrily, Xiaoji says she will protect Xiaoyi forever, and anyone who messes with him will get a beating. Scared by the threat, the bullies take off running and flee the scene. Xiaoyi is flustered, and Xiaoji gives a proud and satisfied smile. With a thumbs up, she shows that everything is okay, and the boy gets all shy and grateful. From that day on, the two became best friends and were always together. They would ride their bikes along the beach and enjoy every moment of their childhood. As they grew up, the feeling of friendship turned into love, and they started dating. Over time, the relationship got serious, and they decided to get married. The two got married and lived happily ever after in a beautiful love story. But it was all just a dream, and in real life, they share the house like siblings. Xiaoyi complains that he doesn't care if a second tomboy brother comes into his room. Xiaoji gets furious at the comment and tells him to repeat what he just said. Without any fear, the guy repeats that she's his second tomboy brother right to her face. Angrily, she yells that he's a dead man and runs at the poor guy to give him a beating. The protagonist runs down the stairs, saying it's dangerous to play around there. With a mischievous grin, he says that if she falls chest first, she'll just slide down faster. The girl doesn't like the joke and throws her slipper with full force at the guy. She yells that she doesn't need to worry about safety because he can already consider himself a goner. With that, the protagonist slips on the stairs and takes a really nasty fall. The guy has a look of pure desperation on his face as he tumbles down the stairs. And to make matters worse, Xiaoji trips over him, and they both fall together. The result is a major pileup of the two at the bottom of the staircase. All sore, he complains and says he warned her not to mess around on the stairs. But when he opens his eyes, he gets a very privileged view of his friend. The two are in a super awkward position, with his face in asterisk the wrong place asterisk. To complete the disaster, someone knocks on the door and calls for the two of them. Instantly, they both panic at the unexpected visit. The girl tries to get up, but the guy's head gets stuck in her shirt. In his attempt to get free, the protagonist ends up ripping his friend's clothes. And in the end, her shirt rips and the two are just stuck there, not knowing what to do. A blonde woman opens the door and finds the two in the most compromising position imaginable. The two of them freeze in embarrassment, having been caught in the act by Xiaoyi's mother. Completely desperate, they stammer and don't know what to say to explain themselves. Later, Xiaoyi thinks that although it was nice to beat up those guys, the problem is not being able to control his body. He wonders what the conditions are to transform and if it was just a one-time thing. The guy also wants to know why he turned back to normal with the punch, and why Xiaoji is immune to the power. With so many questions, he decides to just let it go and get something to eat to forget his problems. He walks through the backyard, still thinking about everything that happened that day. Arriving in the kitchen, he greets Uncle Hao, who looks very serious and worried. His uncle asks if he saw the emergency news report that was on television. At this, the protagonist gets confused and asks what happened to warrant such an urgent report. His uncle points to the TV, where a reporter is talking about a monster that appeared in the city. Xiaoyi is shocked by the news, and his uncle confirms that a monster came out of the sea and hurt people. The guy can't believe what he's hearing, and is completely terrified by the idea. The two of them start imagining what kind of monster it could be, and none of the options seem very good. Suddenly, Xiaoyi's mother appears and calls his name in a very serious voice. The guy jumps, startled, and feels awkward, remembering the embarrassing scene from earlier. But she changes the subject and asks what he thinks of her new dress. He compliments the dress and notices that his charm power had no effect on her. Xiaoji's grandmother and younger sister arrive, and the elderly woman calls him son-in-law with a smile. The little girl asks when he's going to marry her sister, making everyone feel awkward. Everyone there thinks the two make a great couple and keep encouraging them to get together. Xiaoyi gets all flustered and daydreams about his wedding day with Xiaoji. But the girl with the colorful hair shows up and tells them to stop with the jokes. She says the two are just childhood friends and that they are definitely not getting married. With a slightly forced smile, she says that's the truth, and there's nothing more to it. She asks if he agrees, and the guy can only awkwardly mumble yes. The protagonist is left speechless and doesn't know what to say after his friend's declaration. Out of nowhere, someone yells that there's something wrong at Chief Hao's bathhouse. Everyone is surprised and worried by the desperate shout that came from outside. They get to the beach and find total chaos unfolding there. People are running in panic, and a young woman is on the sand, in a lot of pain. The two of them ask what happened, and the redhead from the beach points toward the sea. She yells that someone saw a monster in the sea, and that's why everyone is running away. Xia Yi and Xiao Jie are shocked and wonder if it's the same monster from the TV. The girl says that saving people is the priority and tells her friend to help the fallen woman. The guy runs to the woman and asks where she's hurt so he can help. She explains that she twisted her ankle while running from the monster and that it hurts a lot. Xia Yi offers to help carry her to the ambulance, and the young woman agrees immediately. He takes her by the hand to help her up, but her pain is too intense. The young woman can't get up on her own and ends up leaning on the protagonist. In pain, she hugs him tightly and complains that it's hurting too much. With the physical contact, something strange starts to happen to the guy again. The item he swallowed starts glowing with the pink light again, and its power activates. The protagonist feels that sensation coming back and realizes he's transforming again. He moves away from the young woman, and the strange feeling starts to appear in his body again. But the magic item suddenly stops glowing, and the transformation doesn't happen. The guy is shocked and realizes that the condition to transform is something else. The injured woman says she can't walk because of the pain in her foot and asks for help. So the protagonist offers to carry her to a safe place, and she accepts. But when he picks her up in his arms, the poor guy can barely handle the weight and strains himself. With that, the power comes back in full force, and he understands that the condition is carrying her in his arms. The guy complains that the young woman is pretty heavy and he's sweating like crazy to hold her. She asks if she's really that heavy and offers to walk, but he says it's okay. The item's energy reaches its maximum level, and the transformation is finally going to happen. A yellow light starts to come out of his body, and the guy realizes he's about to transform. The young woman in his arms is in awe as she watches the transformation happen right in front of her. Already transformed, he says he'll hold her forever, and the young woman becomes completely smitten. The girl hugs him tightly and tells him to take her wherever he goes. So the hero carries her along the beach while other girls stare at the new couple. The other girls on the beach go wild over the guy's good looks, thinking he's super handsome. With that, they all run toward him asking to be carried too. The guy can't believe it and wonders if this is really happening. The scene cuts to the sea, with a few waves breaking on the sand. Suddenly, a giant terrifying monster emerges from the water with a huge splash. But it's actually the two gym bros in costume, celebrating the success of their plan. They laugh at the tourists for believing a real monster exists in the sea. As they're talking, a giant shadow approaches from behind them without them noticing. The two stop laughing and get a look of terror on their faces as they feel something strange. Out of nowhere, a massive tail comes out of the water and attacks the two of them with incredible force.